1, 2, time to play with you. 3, 4, 5, the owl will arrive. 6 on the end, the wool scraper will stand. 7, 8, got you on my plate. 9 and 10, stomp your hose again. For the fox and for the bear, bunny tasty meals prepare.
Welcome to First Play Gaming, and today, ooh, baby, today we are checking out Tiny Bunny. Tiny Bunny is developed by Sukono Sakai, published by Serenity Forge. Visual horror. Ooh. Atmospheric for days. Super keen for this one. Super keen. Without further ado, let's go. The wind clawed at my window all night long. Do I just enter? Yes, I do enter. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twined in the air. They were shouting and laughing, and arguing about something. Something was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot of its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was my imagination. I was already 12, after all. Still. Oh shit. Episode 1, The Owl Will Arrive.
Убери книгу немедленно.
Oh shit, big. Hey, put away your book.
Сколько раз говорила, не читай
How
за
many-
столом, вредно. Сидишь, сутулился весь.
How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Hide. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. My kind of guy, Conan. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olya had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials.
Пока не съешь, из-за стола не встанешь.
You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in my plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Kotozo Odyssey. I love that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, or how cold the Black Forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mum showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes.
Что я говорила?
What did I say?
Я достану.
I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Karina. Ah, that's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar though. Did I remind her about it? Eagle, hello, how are you? Welcome to Tiny Buddy. Buddy? Tiny Bunny. No. She's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age, sitting under the table. I wonder, was Mum afraid of the dark back then? or the sounds coming from the attic, or the thick forest. I imagined my grandma coming into my little mum's room, sitting at the edge of her bed where Olya sleeps nowadays, and saying, in her soft, smooth voice,
Тайга особое место, дитятка.
Taiga is a special place, little girl.
Она к тебе присматривается, принюхивается,
It's watching you closely, sniffing you out,
словно хочет понять, что ты за зверь такой.
trying to discern what kind of beast you are.
Понравишься, в беде не бросит.
If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble.
А будешь проказничать, схватит за бочок и утащит с собой под землю.
But if you're a bad apple, it will grab you by the side and drag you under the ground.
Тут и дело с концом.
And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already brought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time it waited for its time in the closet patiently. It was black, unholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive, only all the photos are gone. Glass-covered pictures with grave faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olya was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze toward the frosted window. There were a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. A pattern of forest formed a picture on the glass.
Оля, гляди, лиса!
Olya, look at it. Look, it's a fox.
Где?
Where? It looked almost like these optical illusion thingies they put on the back of student notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle.
Да не на улице, на стекле.
Not outside, on the window.
Смотри, вот нос, вот.
Look, here's the nose, and here's...
Ну-ка, доедай.
Hey, eat up.
Да, да, сейчас.
Yes, yes, just a moment.
Я ничего не вижу.
I don't see anything.
Живо. Совсем немного осталось.
Hurry up, there's not much left.
А, вот. Но все равно не похоже.
Ah, there it is. But it still doesn't look like one.
А я говорю, похоже.
And I'm telling you it does.
Не-а.
Nya.
Похоже.
It does.
Прекратите! Ну что за дети?
Stop it, these kids, I swear. Now, I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty patterns, similar to stretched out nettle leaves, kept creeping on the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mum always asked jokingly, come on, shave it off, it stings. This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were everyday occurrences. Olya always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, what's the point of it? What's the point in all this? Through the wall. It's all for your sake, Dad would reply, for the sake of our family. I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. Devo. I didn't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families.
Да что твоя лиса? Вот у меня на окне сова.
Anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window.
Опять ты со своей совой.
You and your owl talk again?
Так ты же вчера мне верил.
You said you believed me just yesterday.
Никто ключи от машины не видел?
Has anybody seen my car keys?
Вроде оставлял на подоконнике.
I remember leaving them on the windowsill.
Вроде.
Right.
Вроде оставлял, вроде нет.
Maybe you did, and maybe not.
Вроде взрослый мужчина, отец двоих детей, а вроде...
You're a grown man, a father of two, and still.
Перестань, пожалуйста, Карина.
Karina, please stop.
Дай мне спокойно собраться.
В корзине твои ключи, возле телефона.
Your keys are in the basket near the phone.
Огромное тебе человеческое спасибо.
Well, thank you very much. Can I maybe change this to English? Or is it just... Voice, no. Audio, skip. Well, thank you very much.
Антон, ешь быстрее, а то как мученик сидишь.
Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already.
А сова?
But the owl!
Не было там никакой совы.
There was no owl.
Была.
But there was one.
Глазюки огромные. Во, и светятся.
It had giant glowing eyes. Ulla sprang up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each.
В прошлом году бабай в шкафу. Сейчас сова?
Last year you had Babai in your closet, and now this owl.
Но я же видела.
But I saw it. Ulla shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mum to me and couldn't find any support.
А ты не думала подружиться с ней, нет?
Have you thought about befriending it?
Вымышленными мышами покормить, например?
You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice?
Не подначивай ребенка.
Don't bully our girl.
Просто мала еще, и спать одна боится.
She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Ulla pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mum gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. So uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed from the house, through the house. Hola, bro. It was stored on incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. It's so easy to fix objects by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mum moved to the living room and was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Olia had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons help her take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. And then Olia said she saw the giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of these ridiculous fears. Olia refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I was aware. I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? That night I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. Hear that. My imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if something completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy snares, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn all I care. I just wish for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olya begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circles of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mum picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around. Anton is not around." I imagine my future classmates lying in their beds just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mum. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with a neighbor's drill, mumbled with the TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family with their ashen eyes were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was in fact hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the cracking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that the music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. Not like someone is playing it there amidst the cold, snowy night, right? Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear, piercing me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like the bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guest move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing up on her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words.
На острове Буяне, в Синем океане, стоит домовина, в ней сало и глина, волосы седые, чертям еда, раба Божьего Антона не тронут никогда.
On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair for the spawn from devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Anton.
Бесы запутают дорогу к дому.
Evil leave this house, must.
Мертвый к мертвому, швой к швому.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hanged man. And then the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently, as if he was looking for someone.
Мертвое к мертвому.
Ashes to ashes,
Живое к живому.
dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of the darkness. And then the doorknob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear, my wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnivorous mouth of a doorway. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking the rusty hinges. I was trembling and ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me,
Ты спишь, Тоша?
"Tusha, you asleep?" My sister, pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief.
Оля, я не сплю. Что случилось?
Olia, I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olia frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry.
Оно опять прилетело и пялится на меня.
It's there again, staring at me.
Прогони ее, Тоша. Прогони, пожалуйста.
Shoo her away, Tosha, please.
Я так боюсь.
I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olia down.
Это был сон, глупая. Не пугайся. Сны не кусаются. Никто тебя не обидит.
It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Olia sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself?
У меня есть идея.
I have no idea.
Пойдем к тебе в комнату, видик посмотрим. Спящую красавицу, например.
Let's go to your room and watch the video, Sleeping Beauty, for example.
Тебе же нравится этот мультик?
You like that cartoon, don't you?
Почему у спящей красавицы принца у меня эта страшная птица?
Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have the scary bird? That question took me by surprise.
Ладно, давай посмотрим Золушку.
Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. Couldn't be satisfied with the feast of lard and long ashen hair.
Тоша, ты идешь?
Tusha, you coming?
Да, сейчас.
Yes, just a moment. Oh shit, fucking bitch! That's why I didn't want to laugh at Olya and her owl in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled just from a silly thought that our morning guests could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide. In the closet. Under the table. Behind the curtains where Olya always hides.
Тоша, подойди-ка сюда.
Dusha, come here. I felt like kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragging them toward the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. My mum always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars, worse than bandits. At the moment, though, she looked somewhat confused.
Здравствуйте.
Hello? The senior officer who wore a grim expression nodded.
Тут мальчик вчера потерялся. Вовой зовут.
A boy had gone missing yesterday. His name was Vova.
Глянь, пожалуйста. Ты его не видел?
Look at this, please. Have you seen him? The policeman handed out a photograph to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a wall carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile.
Нет.
No, I haven't.
Точно? Посмотри внимательнее.
Are you sure? Look closely.
Где мне его видеть? Я тут никого не знаю, да и из дома-то почти не выхожу.
Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house.
А может, видел в окно?
Or maybe you've seen him from the window.
Да, у тебя ведь окна на лес.
That's right, your windows look straight at the forest, don't they? The window?
Нет, не видел.
No, I haven't seen anything.
Ясно.
I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes, his stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason.
Вы, кстати, как на новом месте? Попривыкли уже?
How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it?
Понемногу, только вот дочка маленькая по городу скучает.
Bit by bit. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot.
Скучает, значит. Из местных вас никто не беспокоит?
Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well?
Все хорошо, спасибо.
Yes. Everything is alright. Thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his brown eyes. My head started spinning.
Может, вам помочь как-то?
Can I help you? Somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice to look like a polite boy and to end his unpleasant conversation sooner.
Я вот стою и думаю,
Now that I think about it,
ты, малец, на племеша моего похож.
you look just like one of my nephews, little fella.
Шустрый парнишка твоих лет. С
Из-за-
такими же окулярами. Все книжками зачитывался, детективами.
He's a witty boy around your age, wears the same type of goggles, haha, always engrossed in reading those mystery novels.
Когда летом погостить приезжал, говорит, что в школу милиции мечтает поступить.
Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer.
Как я. Хотел людям помогать. Смекаешь?
Wanted to help other people, just like me, see? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me.
Ох, ребятушки,
You know what?
сидите-ка вы лучше дома. Не ввязывайтесь ни во что. Жизнь сейчас совсем другая пошла.
Little boys like you should stay at home, steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice.
Мне ли не знать?
You don't say.
Ну да ладно.
Ah, well then.
Ты, Антон, в каком классе учишься?
What grade are you in, Anton?
В 6-м.
6th.
Друзей-то на новом месте еще не завел?
Have you made any friends here so far?
Пока нет. Я только после каникул в школу пойду.
Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break.
Тогда вот вам на всякий случай мой номер. Звоните, если узнаете что.
Then I'll leave you with my number. Just in case, call me if you have any new info. The policemen were gone along with their shadows, the smell of cheap cologne and the photo of a smiling boy. His face still stood before my eyes. I wondered what it was like for him, being all alone there. For some reason, I thought of the forest, swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do and forget about me eventually?
Мам, а Вова этот в нашем лесу заблудился?
Mum, this Vova, did he go missing in our forest?
Выходит, что так. Бедный ребенок.
Seems like it, poor child. I looked out the window at the road. The police UAZ drove off toward the village. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remembered all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. Your average boys and girls investigated all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, bam, solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest, and then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start an investigation of my own? Maybe I'll find that lost boy, and I'll get a reward. Olya will be so happy. And not only Olya, Mum and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe I'll even save us from the D word. I fantasize about buying Olya a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself, and a whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents brought us any toys? Last autumn, I think. My dad had lost his job at that time. There's that annoying song about it. I had little to no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mum and Dad barely had money to afford sheets, and Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Olya. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues.
Пойду погуляю.
I'm going outside.
Ага, сейчас.
Yeah, right.
Чтобы потом милиционеры с твоей фотографией по домам ходили.
You want the police to go around with your photograph next?
Лес вон какой густой.
The forest is so thick.
А если мальчика звери дикие утащили? Или того хуже?
What if the boy got snatched up by wild animals or something even worse? Even worse echoed through the hallway.
Да я рядом буду. В лес не пойду.
I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest.
Что я тебе сказала? Мне дважды повторять.
Did you hear what I said? Or should I repeat myself?
Лучше портфель собери или соли поиграй.
Better go pack your school bag or play with Olya. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mum had the last word. Okay. Do we want to go kitchen, front yard, or open the Potter room? Oh. Oh. Should we say, fuck your mom? I'm going front yard. Oh. Sorry, mom.
Сейчас ремня получишь. Ни шагу за порог.
I'll whip you, mum. Okay, kitchen or open here. The dark, stuffy closet. Mum says it smells like mice, but how would she know their smell? She hates when I stick my nose in there. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. And Alia can't even be lured close to it. She thinks Baba is living there. I tried to help her fight her fears once. I opened the door and turned on a dim lamp so she would see there was nothing but cobwebs, dad tools, and scratched walls. She still didn't believe me. And I like to hide in the closet and listen to Olya count outside. 1, 2, 3, better hide from me. And then drag her feet on the creaking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. Lied to mum. Turn back open. What am I lying to? Open. Turn back open. Grandma kept ice cream for me and Olya there, but now I could only see meat bits for soup and clumped together pelmeni. I grew to hate them already. Turn back. Lie to mum? It was difficult to lie to mum, but there was no other way for me to run away from home.
Мам, там что-то с телевизором случилось.
Mum, something's wrong with the TV.
Картинка какая-то тусклая, и экран весь в полосах.
The picture is dim and there's stripes all over the screen. Mum's face became visibly distorted.
Без ножа меня режешь. Дострелялся в уток своих.
Ah, you're killing me here. So, have you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now?
Говорила же, посадите мне кинескоп своей приставкой.
Told you the kinescope will go dim because of your console.
Где мы теперь мастера найдем в дыре этой, а?
Where will we find a TV technician in this hole, huh?
Может быть, просто настройки сбились?
Maybe it's just the settings.
Сходи, посмотри, пожалуйста.
Please go and see for yourself.
Нормально же работал с утра.
Strange, it worked fine this morning.
Из-за снегопада, наверное, неполадки.
Maybe the snowfall caused it. Mum rubbed her hands clean on her apron and went to Olya's room. Okay, front door, bitch. Go to the front door, go. Get out of there. I opened the front gate and went into the field. Carefully, so Mum wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half of the distance toward the forest, the snow poles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me. And a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent, I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olya. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olya turned to stone, listening to them. Then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mum and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together, almost like all of it was a previous life. When they kissed with Olya present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day it all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke out. Our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home. The eyes that only saw balls of worm on the black ground and everything. And somewhere far away a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, the white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into the ice. Omnivorous. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, and when I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering sediment. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help them find the lost boy? Vuva. I heard a distant shout. It looked like it came from the river. Vuva. As if the trees were calling out to someone. Vuva. Resounded closer to me. Someone was standing there, behind the trees, hiding. I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still. Something was unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, I was bent unnaturally toward the ground. Its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. Fucking shit, bitch. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment, but when I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination, after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. My muscles were tightly sprung, my heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. Nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. Take or run away? Oh shit, fucking. Just that noise gave me a fright. Okay, I'm taking it. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Well, the music makes me think I made the right choice. Hop. Hop. Vulva. A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I stepped toward the bristly trees and tried to calm my find. I didn't budge. I pulled harder, the branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy, wet. I squeezed it without thinking and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. Hot chocolate? I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of cracking branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. No was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew in my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably one of reason, gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the sound came from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucking in fresh, freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. It felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became vicious like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my left leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing the snow was... Oh, fucking shit. There's a big spider on my desk. Shit. Hang on. Pause. Hey. Genuine spider on my desk. Did you go, bitch? There you are. He lives to fight another day. I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Is it too loud, maybe? Do it there. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure of my leg was gone, my boots slipped out of the hole, and my soles were on a hard surface again. I reached a clear path with one jump and from there ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. That house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so I could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was so much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and my mum had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it obediently gave way. Fucking hell. Relax, kid. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mum peeked out from the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad.
Что конкретно тебе не ясно в просьбе не хлопай дверьми?
What exactly didn't you understand when I told you to never slam the door?
Я случайно.
I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mum, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it, the last bit of strength I had left my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mum's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mum looked the same as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow.
Ты где был? Я тебе что говорила, а?
Where have
Чтобы
you
ты
been?
дома сидел.
What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home.
Я и для тебя пустое место.
Am I nothing to you too? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mum regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel, her voice rang out.
У отца сигареты пропали.
Your dad can't find his cigarettes.
Признавайся, ты их стащил?
Be honest,
Курить бегаешь?
did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret?
Там за
There
мной
was
кто-то
someone chasing
гнался.
me,
Я
I
думал,
thought.
меня...
I shuddered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mum leaned in toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant and she covered her mouth with her hand.
Гляди, вон же они. Прямо у забора.
Look over there, at the fence. My heart started thumping as if I became prey once again and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I heard something scratch at the door, just like in my nightmare. Mum beckoned me with her finger and gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window facing my fear. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. What the fuck am I looking at? Dogs. Just a small pack of strays with no name and owner, barely reminding me of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest.
Божечки, ты их испугался? Да они сами тебя перепугаются, Антон.
Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton.
Они гнались за мной, словно за зайцем.
They were chasing me like a bunny.
А вдруг они бешеные?
And what if they're rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from Mum's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them.
Что если они нападут на Олю?
What if they attack Ilya?
Mom,
Mum,
Вот бы твой отец
I wish your
их
dad could
перестрелял.
just shoot them all.
мама,
Mum,
они
look,
живые.
they're
А
alive.
что?
Huh? What?
Ты уж определись? Они тебе
Are they your
друзья или
friend
враги?
or foe after all? Make up your mind.
Не маленький ведь уже.
You're not a little kid anymore. Mum sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner just to keep myself from crying. Welp, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. And what for? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course. A dark and sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mum.
Мам, смотри, это
Mom,
Вовина варежка.
Look, this is Volva's mitten.
Ну того, про которого
The
утром
boy the
милиция
police were
спрашивала.
asking about in the morning.
Она вся в крови,
It's drenched
на
in blood.
дереве висела.
I found it
Вон
hanging on
там,
the
могу
tree.
показать.
I can show where.
Давай в милицию скорее
Let's
позвоним.
call the
Как
police
нас
right away,
участковый просил.
like the officer had told us to.
Мам, гляди.
Mum, look.
Фу.
Ew. A shadow of doubt slowly crept into Mum's contorted face, as if she was trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream but their images slip away.
А ну-ка прекрати сейчас же.
Stop at this moment.
Оля тебя услышит, с
Olya
ума
would go
сойдет.
insane if she hears
Она и
you.
так не спит.
She's
На
already
всё
has
подряд
trouble
жалуется.
sleeping and whines all the time.
Еще и ты со своими
And you joke
шуточками.
about around like this? At that moment, I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment.
Иди сюда, паникер.
Come here, my boy, who cried Wolf.
Да не стой столбом.
Oh, don't just
Вот,
stand there. Come
таблетку
take
на.
your
Быстро.
pills. A golden-colored pill reminiscent of a dead wasp fell into my palm.
Я уже пил
I
сегодня.
already took
за
one during
завтраком.
breakfast.
Попререкайся
Don't
мне
talk
еще.
over me.
Сказала
I
дома
told you
сидеть.
to
Нет
stay
же.
home, and you...
Был бы отец, выпорол.
Dad would have given you a good whipping for that.
Сейчас же выпей, а то
Come
ночью не
on,
уснешь.
take it, or you
Тебе
won't
в
be
школу
able to
завтра.
sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Volva's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all, just like the forest monsters and Olya's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawning indifference along with it.
Антон, выпил?
Anton, you done?
Можешь, если
See?
захочешь.
You can do it when you try.
Раздевайся.
Take off
Уснул,
your
что ли?
coat. Are you asleep?
Нет, мам.
No, Mum.
Просто
I was just
задумалась.
thinking.
Интересно, о чем же?
What about, I wonder?
Так,
It's just
глупости
something silly.
всякие.
Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest.
Точно все нормально?
Is everything alright?
У тебя такое лицо
You
было,
had
когда
the
милиционер
exact
про окно
same
спросил.
expression when the policeman asked about the window.
Все нормально, мам.
I'm alright, Mum. She heaved a deep sigh.
Хорошо.
Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Olya was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar and Lago's voice died down. I walked past Olya's bedroom and slipped into my own. One of the drawers was empty. I hid the mitten there. This simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. And only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The corners of the room bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. The flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor. It reminded me of burial sheets.
Оля,
Olya. Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried up lips.
Оля, очень смешно.
Yeah, Olya. It's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached toward the curtains. Badam, beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a choir of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They're looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Gotcha.
Да я сразу понял, что это ты.
I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up above Olya's head with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always retorted back to Dad, she's not the same flashlight. She's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day and sunlight poured on her smiling face. Felt like I was holding a light, woven child.
А я все видела.
I saw everything.
Да ну,
Oh, really?
Что ты спрятал?
What did you hide? She was just like Mum when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice.
ничего, просто...
It's nothing, just... Olya ran up to the table, her eyes round, and asked,
Ты что-то
You
украл,
stole
теперь
something and
прячешь?
hid it there.
Ты вор?
Are you a thief?
Что?
What? Don't be
Глупая.
stupid.
Ничего я не крал.
I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind, that mitten hanging from the tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure standing behind the black trees. Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted.
Покажи тогда.
Then show me.
Поклянись, что никому не
Swear that you
скажешь.
won't tell
Тогда
anyone,
покажу.
then I'll show you. Olya wore a plotting smile.
Клянусь маминым сердцем.
I swear on Mum's heart. An oath she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we watched.
Не говори так.
Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing at her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter.
Это
Is this
Чья-то
someone's mitten?
варежка.
She said that as she couldn't understand what she saw.
Один мальчик потерял.
A certain boy
И сам
lost it
потерялся.
and got lost himself.
Теперь понимаешь, как опасно гулять
Now
в
you do
лесу,
understand how
особенно детям.
dangerous it is for kids to wander in the forest, right?
Ему, наверное,
It
там
must be
очень
really cold out
холодно.
there.
Его найдут?
Will they find him?
Обязательно.
They will.
Участковый по домам ходит.
The police
Всем
are going
фотографии
house
его
to house
показывают.
showing his photo to everybody. Olia transversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window.
А почему он по домам
And why
ходит,
are
а
they
не по
going to
лесу?
the houses and not the forest?
Боится?
Are they scared? The question caught me off guard.
Милиционеры
The
ничего
police
не
aren't scared
боятся.
of anything.
И лес они
They've
прочесали.
already scouted the forest. And yeah, right, flashed in my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later for me? I changed the topic, as if trying to get Olia as far away as possible from the forest thicket.
Если я сам найду
We may get a
пропавшего
reward
мальчика,
if I
нам,
go
может,
and
награду
find this
дадут.
boy by myself.
Кучу всякого,
A lot
как
of
в поле
stuff,
чудес.
like in the Wheel of Fortune.
Клево же.
Sounds cool, right? Olia wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her.
А что, если это
What
сова
if the
его
owl got him?
утащила?
Ерунда.
Nonsense.
Не может сова поднять
An owl
человека.
won't be able to lift a human.
Но вот что...
But you know what? I was picking my words with utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain.
Ты в лес не суйся.
Stay away
Мне
from the
кажется, он
forest.
какой-то,
I think it's,
как бы сказать,
how should I put it?
проклятый,
It's
что ли.
cursed or something.
Как в сказке?
Just like in a fairy tale?
Нет, скорее,
No,
как
more
на той
like in
страшной
spooky
кассете, что
tape our
родители
parents
прячут.
hide from us. Olia shivered and stole a glance at the window.
Я видела, как ты убегал.
I saw you running away.
За тобой кто-то гнался?
Someone was chasing you?
Нет, просто,
No.
чтобы мама не
Just I
волновалась,
was hurrying
спешил
back
домой.
home so Mum won't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and a small fire would be gone.
Хорошо тебе.
You're lucky.
Меня вот мама не
Mum
пускает
won't
даже
even
на
let
крыльцо.
me go outside.
Как принцесса в
I'm like a
башне сижу.
princess in the tower.
Никуда не
Can't
могу
go anywhere.
выйти. Так и умру тут
I'll
от
die from
скуки.
boredom here.
Не придумывай.
You're wrong.
От скуки еще
No
никто
one
не
has
умирал.
ever died of boredom.
У тебя же есть я и
And you
мультики,
have me
а мама
and
с
your
папой скоро
cartoons, and
помирятся.
Mum and Dad will be good to each other soon.
Знаешь, что бы я
You know
загадала
what I
на
would wish
следующий день
for on my next
рождения?
birthday?
Чтобы
I'd
родители
wish for
тоже в
Mum and
детей
Dad to turn into
превратились.
children,
И
so
мы
we
бы
could
все
go and
вместе
play together
играли,
like
как
we used to.
раньше.
Ага. А
Yeah.
если бы они стали
If we make
размером
them as
жука,
small as
то мы бы их
bugs,
в
we can
спичечный
place them
коробок
into a little
посадили.
box. Olia giggled and tugged at my sleeve.
Тоша, пойдем Аладдина
Tosha,
смотреть.
let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue won over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy.
Вымотался я.
I'm too tired.
Что-то не
I don't want
хочется.
to.
Ну пойдем.
Come on.
Мне скучно одной,
It's so
а
boring
мама
alone, and
занята
Mum
всё
is always
время.
busy.
Можно выбрать
You
другой
can pick a
мультик,
cartoon
который
you
ты
haven't
еще не
seen before.
видел.
Да я все
I
наши
know all of your
кассеты
tapes by heart at
наизусть
this
знаю.
point.
А вот и не все.
None of all,
Ты
not
Питера
all of them.
Пэна не
You haven't watched
видел.
Peter Pan.
Помнишь, ты уснул на
Remember how you
середине?
fell asleep in the middle of it?
А там потом
And so much
такое.
happens after that.
Ну
Let's go, let's go.
Давай попозже.
Maybe a little bit later.
Рассказать тебе, чем все закончилось?
Should I tell you how it ends?
Утром расскажешь.
Let's leave that for tomorrow.
Утром не захочу.
I won't tell you tomorrow.
Придумала.
I
А
know.
давай в прятки.
Let's play hide and seek.
Нет, Оль.
No, Olya.
Тогда нарисуй мне динозавра.
Then draw me a dino.
Оля, блин.
Olya, please.
Нарисуй, нарисуй.
Draw it.
Да оставь ты меня в
Leave me alone
покое!
already. I blurted it out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken aback. I'd never screamed at my little sister like that. Olya stared at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, a precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olia from crying.
Ладно,
Alright,
уболтала.
you win. Let's
Давай
go watch
смотреть
cartoons
мультики.
for a bit.
Уже не
I don't wanna. I came up to her, put my hand on her soft head.
Пойдем,
Let's go.
Питера Пэна
Let's
посмотрим.
go watch Peter Pan.
Ага, ты
Boo.
опять уснешь.
You'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless.
Не усну, обещаю.
I promise. I won't.
А потом я тебе
And
целого
I'll draw you
трицератопса
full
нарисую.
Triceratops later. Ура! Popsa!
Ну, почти.
Well, close enough. Olia rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and shining smile returned to her face.
Давай ты пока кассету
I'll
перемотаешь.
go ask Mum
я у
for
мамы
condensed
попрошу
milk and
сгущенки
bread,
с хлебом.
and you rewind the tape.
Только
The
утром
bread is
свежий
fresh,
привезли, как
just
ты
how you like
любишь.
it. What, instead of stale?
Неси, только аккуратнее, а то
Alright,
разольешь.
just be careful not to spill the milk,
Опять ругаться будут.
or you'll be yelled at again.
Спорим, не разолью.
Want to bet I won't spill it?
Кассета где-то в
The
тумбочке.
tape is somewhere in the
Поищи пока.
nightstand. Look for it. Olia disappeared in the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. The old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the bottom of the front panel. The tube warmed up and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark tiger. It was a dark taiga forest, just like the one outside my window. The picture split the screen in half. Something creepy resembled human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did it catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently, I used to always watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna. What if I catch the signal again? On the other hand, Olia had asked me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. Sifted through the shelves full of dolls and blue hippos and from Kinder Surprises. I found the tape I needed thanks to its shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box. The tape inside it rustled while rewinding to the beginning. The rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images whirled in my head, me and Alia flying above the forest, tumbling in soft clouds. My little sister is laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. I notice that the clouds underneath us part, bearing the bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slurped among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us up. And Ola,
Ты не смотришь без меня?
you haven't started without me, have you? My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes.
Нет, садись.
No, come sit.
Мама с папой опять
Mum and Dad are
ругаются.
arguing again.
У них сейчас
They're
период
going
такой.
through rough times.
Глупый
Rough
какой-то
times are
период.
lame. On the screen, Wendy was hiding Peter Pan's shadow into the dresser. Ollie was entertained by the cartoonish dog, Nana.
Может, и нам родители
Maybe Mum
собачку
and Dad will
купят?
buy us a dog too.
Ага,
Yeah,
как же.
right.
В В Небылянде
I'll
у
have
меня
my own
будет
dog
своя
in the Neverland,
собственная
and a
собака.
cat and a
И
parrot.
кошка.
Olia smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me.
А у тебя все
Have you lost all
молочные
your baby
зубы
teeth?
выпали?
Конечно.
Obviously. Olia frowned, deep in thought.
У Питера Пэна
Peter
зубы
Pan has
молочные.
baby teeth.
Вдруг со
What
взрослыми
if they
зубами
won't
тебя
let
не
us
пустят в
go
его
to
страну?
his land with adult teeth?
Мы что-нибудь обязательно придумаем.
We'll think of something.
Попросим папу исправить
We'll ask
тебе
Dad to
возраст в
alter your
паспорте.
age in the passport.
С чего это папа будет
And why would
документы
Dad
подделывать?
forge documents? Olia took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with her mouth full.
Будет. Мама говорила,
будет.
что он так делал. А я
A
подслушала.
huge Mum, they did that before.
Смотри, уши вырастут, как у Дамбо.
You'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Olia got worried and touched her ear. I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook, as if she got sucked into the fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I also imagined myself there, in a land where one never ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. Felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to reality.
Тоша, скорее, штору задерни!
Tosha, shut the curtains fast.
Зачем?
Why?
Никто же на тебя
No
не
one's watching
смотрит.
you.
Уже
It's
темно.
dark, and when it's dark, the
прилетает
owl
сова.
comes.
Я
I'm,
боюсь.
I'm scared. I got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. I did my best not to look outside toward the treetops, toward the taiga forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from the shadows of branches scraping the snow.
Тоша, мама думает, что я
Tosha, Mum thinks I made up the owl,
И папа
and Dad
считает,
too
что раз я
thinks I'm a
маленькая,
liar
то
since I'm
значит
small.
врушка. А сова есть.
But the owl exists.
Вот честная,
Honestly,
честная, есть
honestly, it does.
она. Ты же мне веришь,
You do believe me, right?
что она там и каждую ночь
That it comes every night, and I swiftly grabbed Ollie's hand and looked at her in the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities?
Я тебе верю, слышишь?
Yes, I believe you, alright?
Ты только родителям больше не
Just don't
рассказывай
nag
про
our
сову.
parents about it anymore.
У них и так хлопот
They're
по
already
горло.
dealing with
Они
a
только
lot.
рассердятся.
So they'll just get mad at you.
Ты мне говори, если
Come
что
and tell me if
случится.
anything happens.
И в окно не смотри.
And don't look out the window.
Но она хочет,
But it
чтобы я
wants me to look.
смотрела.
Перехочет.
Doesn't matter.
Притворись, что ее нет
Act
и не
like
было
it doesn't
никогда.
exist
Что
and
она
never
выдумка,
existed.
как родители
Like
говорят.
it's made up, just like Mum and Dad say.
Ей ждать надоест, она улетит.
We get tired of waiting and fly away. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing had happened, as if the forest didn't kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from a crocodile, and Captain Pan was heading to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olia's eyelids had dropped. She started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of her bed. I stood up and left Olia's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field when Mum peeked into my room.
Довольно баловства.
Enough playing around.
Завтра первый день в
It's
школе.
your first day at school tomorrow.
Ложись, тебе надо
Go to
выспаться.
bed. You should sleep properly.
Не хочешь же ты, чтобы
You
тебя
don't
все
want to be
дразнили сон?
teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is so simple. As if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just part of growing up and I can fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier that was my walls. Some ethereal entity wandering the fields. Branches shook as if calling me. The wind howled on and on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. It has come, after all. The day I feared the most. The first day of a new school term. Oh shit. Alright. I think I might pause there. A shit ton of reading. The most reading I've done in 2 years. Dog's barking. It's time to call it. Sorry if I read like a 5-year-old. I don't read. Okay? I no read. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is super engaging. Like really, I don't know. Like I'm really enjoying it. And I hate fucking reading. So for me to say I'm enjoying this, it says something about the game. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I might pick it up on another live stream. Until then, catch you later.
1, 2, time to play with you. 3, 4, 5, the owl will arrive. 6 on the end, the wool scraper will stand. 7, 8, got you on my plate. 9 and 10, stomp your hooves again. For the fox and for the bear, bunny tasty meals prepare.